Puppets. What can you
I
do?
know. Yeah, so apparently the quantum shadow has caused a glitch in Discord today. So I don't know if we can get to the questions that we normally do from the secret tower. So if you want to ask a question today, just request to be a speaker and raise your hand, and we'll get to you. And it looks like we'd lost Dota again. That's all right. I'm sure he'll come back. Um, so yeah, we got a lot to talk about today. I want to give a little anecdote, something fun that's happened with the trailer recently. Um, and I really want to spend a lot of time on just the shout outs today because last week was just amazing with the UGC, the user generated work. And Dota's like discording me right now for some reason at work. I don't know. He'll be here soon. But yeah, and so yeah, we'll talk about UGC. We'll talk about the trailer. We might have some comic updates. Um, a few little small updates is the familiar walk cycles are almost done. Molly and I are we're almost finishing those, and hope I think the art animation will be done this week, and then I'm hoping Dota and the Web3 team can implement them sometime next week. So those are looking great, and then we've got the soul rider bodies. If you want to put your soul on a pony, we have the artwork for that finished. We just need Dota to implement it. Oh, there's Dota.
You're really piling on Oda right now. I'm just gonna say that.
I know.
And he can't even fight
Yeah.
back.
Okay, Dota, I approved your request. Let's see if it works. Yeah, the quantum shadow is just causing havoc today. Hold on, let me see. Nope, nope. Okay, well it'll connect soon. Oh wait, Dota, you there?
Hello. Oh,
All
good.
right.
Man, what
Wow,
is
he
going on
made
with the
it.
internet today, man? Hello.
5G.
Did I already
Yeah.
miss the official intro?
You missed it, Dota.
Oh, oh man.
It's o-
I took your place.
it's
Okay,
okay.
good.
It's okay. Yeah, so I was just telling them the cycles, the animation's almost done, and you'll maybe have those implemented maybe sometime next week.
Yep, we're super close.
Yep, and then the bodies for the souls, if you want to put your soul on a pony, that's almost implemented, right?
Yes. Oh, there is so much we're working on. Can I enumerate some of the stuff that we're working on right now?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have so much going on. So Elf and I have been working on like everything from, Elf is working on kind of the lore to we've started, hashing it out over warriors and what items it's going to have. Bear Snake has been working on some things with the show. So there are kind of some key people that we need to get in place in order to make the show happen. We're like making moves there. We've been talking to people behind the scenes who are going to help Wizards that we can talk more about later. The dev team is working on the book of lore. We've just enlisted someone to help us with merch and merchandising. It's going to be really fun. We have Gosh, so much stuff on the development side that we're working on. I don't know. You guys, Bear Snake is,
Comic. We were gonna talk about the comic too.
yeah, we got the comic.
Yeah, let's
We're working on the
let's.
game. There's
Oh
new
yeah,
art coming in
keep
every
going.
day. There's new art coming in every day for the game. Well, I'll stop there. But it's just like we're like the spring is like compressing right now,
Yeah.
and I know it's been a little bit kind of slow in January, but there's just so much that we have on the horizon.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. So let's hit merch for just a second. Loch Ness and Bear Snake are sort of leading on that. I'm so glad that Locke is helping us with this, because I feel like she has the best taste of all of us. She's like the coolest.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so she,
Yeah.
she like put together this Pinterest board of just like style and just some ideas, and it's awesome. So yeah, so we're not going to do like another big merch box, at least not anytime soon. We're going to have just like evergreen merch that you can just straight up buy from the website. Right, Bear? Is that more or less the plan?
Exactly. I think the idea is we never want to make like runs of thousands of things, but I think we'll do like limited runs, like up to 2, 3, 4, 500 things, and when we sell out, we'll do something new, and yeah, just something so that there's always a fun little treat on there if someone wants it.
Yep. Yep. And so yeah. I mean, so that'll be like apparel and other little, I don't know, knickknacks, I guess, for lack of a better word. But also we have some just like super cool, like out there merch ideas. I don't want to give anything away too specific, but like Bear came up with something the other day that just it's probably one of the things I'm most excited about of all.
Oh, I don't even know
But
what you're talking about.
you know what I'm talking about, Bear?
No,
I know
I don't.
exactly what you're talking
Oh.
about, and yeah, you do. But I will say, it reminds me of something that Dotta talks about, and I can't remember the exact wording, but like these pleasant surprises. How do you word it?
Yeah, delightful mysteries.
Delightful mysteries.
Yeah,
Let's see, it's
exactly.
so much more eloquent when you say it.
Yeah. We're gonna have
I
some
ordered a
delightful mysteries.
wolfkin rug on Etsy. You can get like I tried DMing like all of the like Twitter rug people, like how there's people that make like punch like wool rugs, and they like never want to do wizards. They're like, pixel art's too hard. We only do apes and penguins because the art is simpler. And so then so I went to Etsy, and there are people on Etsy who will do it. I mean, it's like $300, but I ordered a wolfkin rug, and I can't wait to share it with everyone.
That's
That's
cool.
awesome. So lots of things happening with merch, and then the comic. I don't know if we have anything more to add than what we said last week. There's some interesting ideas floating around about okay, first of all, the comic itself is well into production. The story's written, the artist is working, and we talked about distribution models, but there's this new thing where we're going to put some like ads in the back. And I guess we won't give too many details on that right now, but what's fun is like these ads are going to be super relevant, and I think instead of like the typical obnoxious, annoying ad that just ruins the experience of reading a magazine or a comic, I think these will actually enhance the whole experience.
Yeah, like part of what we
Absolutely.
want to do is like relive. It's like part of like reliving childhood for me anyway, right? So part of it, like the ads of like the crazy stuff that you'd see in comic books growing up, that's like part of the entertainment. And so I think part of the function for us is that we want this comic book to be some people's first introduction into NFTs, right? So we want to have instructions on like how to get your first NFT. So that's like an ad. I also want to be able to I want to run like a little contest where people like physically mail in artwork. Like I'll get a PO box,
Yeah.
and like I used to do that with
Yeah.
Nintendo Power Magazine, where I'd like draw on the envelope to try and like win the contest or whatever. And I totally want to print that
Yep.
in like the second edition of our comic of like the contest winners. So
100%.
like ads kind of like that, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I know the comic. I'm super excited about it because of everything we just said, and then plus, like, one of the most fun things about it is a lot of the cult members' wizards are going to appear in the comic, even in this first
Fun,
issue.
fun.
It's what this whole project is all about. Is like you guys create lore, and then we put them into these bigger media expressions, and the comic will like cycle faster than the animated show or any other media expression. So it's just going to be a vital piece of the whole like lore world building of this project.
And it's tangible. To be able to pick up a book, I think, is special.
Yep.
Yeah, to have a
Yep.
physical, yeah.
100%. Okay, and yeah, I have a trailer update, but I'm waiting for a certain cult member to join, and he said he won't be able to join until like later in the show. So I'll hold off on that. Um you guys may have noticed we're doing this thing on Monday called Magic Monday. This is another idea from Loch Ness. So for the longest time, I've been working just like on a master lore doc for all the items, all the spells, all the familiars, etc. And I want to put them in a big master blog post or some kind of wiki. But Locke said, she's like, yeah, we should do that, but we should also just tweet this stuff, because we are indeed world building tweet by tweet. So on Monday, you guys saw the Wizard's Pipe and the Peyote. And so we want to definitely do this every Monday, maybe even more regular than that, because there's just so many parts to go through. But yeah, a lot of lore will be divulged through those kind of tweets. And yeah, I want to jump into like just some shout outs right away. So as I said earlier, the UGC, the user generated content, is just getting next level. Everybody has been blowing my mind lately. There's so many pieces this week that deserve like a 10-minute acknowledgement. Like I could fill the whole rest of the show with all the stuff that you guys have been doing. So I just want to spend some time on this. So
Do we have
you
the
know,
tweet URLs lined up for these? Like, how can we share these here in the space?
I don't have them on this doc, but I'm just
I'll
gonna.
try to dig them
They're
up
on our
while you go
timeline.
through it. I'll dig them.
Yep, yep. Yeah, so just starting off, Archimega Soya of the Marsh, he did this awesome hand painted wizard jacket, and then this new member, I don't even know if he's new, maybe I just haven't noticed until now, but somebody named Night Owl Birdman has been making these hilarious videos, and the funniest one was this like totally accurate recap of the pony drop, and um, that video is basically a 1-to-1 documentary of the Discord the day of our pony drop, and it's just I had tears laughing at it this morning.
Was it the one that people that
So
were yelling
definitely
at
check
each
that.
other?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, it was great. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
great content. And then Zayla Soul, first of all, did it with another cute baby pic. This time with a little Huemaster baby in a rainbow suit. But then also it was either yesterday or today he dropped this amazing CG piece of his wizard with the horseshoe. And it had that awesome Naruto pain theme on it. And it was, I mean, it's next level. Especially because I'm a huge Naruto fan. One thing that it made me think about is that we always talk about Tolkien and J.K. Rowling and George R. R. Martin, but for me personally, Masashi Kishimoto, the creator of Naruto, he's almost a bigger influence on me than all of those guys. He is a master world builder. So yeah, we don't talk enough about Naruto, I think, at least relative to like Tolkien and Game of Thrones. But then okay, so then Magus Wazir, of course, released some more game footage, and it just made me realize a few months back, I saw when I first saw Magus Wazir, I think some of the first content I saw from them was some game footage, and at the time I didn't know if it was real game footage or if it was just a video made to look like a game. But now I'm thinking maybe it is a real game because I keep seeing footage of this game that he's making. So always impressed with that. I can't wait till the real game drops, if indeed that's going to happen. And then Bonzo, another episode of his Wizard News show came out. He did a great segment on why he's attracted to the Forgotten Runes Wizards cult. And then he also did this video the other day where he put wizard stickers on a Bored Ape mural.
I saw that.
Yeah, and what's so great about that is it's sort of indicative of what's happening in the whole NFT community and Forgotten Runes Wizards cult in general, because it's like you've got these like in your face NFTs like Bored Apes, and they're huge and everybody looks at them, but But if you look deep into the community, if you're curious, then you're going to find the sleeping giant that is Forgotten Ruins Wizards Cult.
Yeah.
and the wizards are just right there, watching and waiting and ready to strike. And it's for those who are curious enough to walk up close and look for the secrets. And that's what Bonzo's video made me think. So yeah, I'm loving everything Bonzo does. And then Oz, I'm telling you guys, the UGC is just out of control this week. Oz did 2 amazing illustrations, as far as I know. One was this badass illustration of Aleister Crowley, the famous wizard. And then this other one, which may be one of my top 3 favorite pieces of the entire week, which is this group illustration of. Okay, so it took place in this pub called Auger Milton's Pub and Winery. But why I love it is that it's got this like group of like, I don't know, 12 wizards in this pub, and every one of them just has so much character and personality. And there's even a soul in there, and there's a little Scramps dog in there. And it just, like, that illustration just made everybody feel like a real character with depth. And I just love it. Anyway, I'll stop there for a second if you guys want to chime in, or anybody wants to chime in.
The Wizard Pub was just like so warm.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing that I find that I really love seeing is lore that like connects wizards together, that combines many wizards into one piece of lore, rather than just like a lot of lore that's just like sort of a vacuum about one wizard. So yeah, I loved that piece. And then and Henry Boyd, consistently making content. He had a super cool illustration of Merlin, of his wizard Merlin of Dreams, and then Bun Bun the Dirt Rabbit. I love the Dirt Rabbits. And then another new wizard, at least new to me, Magus Diggory of the Wood, who has been putting his little wooden boy in these historical photographs, which is a really interesting effect. Another one was seeing Merlin, the wizard Merlin, who interacted with Toru, the video ghost. Again, another lore where 2 wizards are connected. Okay, and then Tim Smith did this badass illustration called Billy's Gonna Get Ya. I mean, that is another just standout piece of the week. Mind-blowingly good.
You want to use that like line art in like a coloring book, like a wizard coloring book.
Yeah, so good. I had dinner with Tim a few nights ago, and Tim has got some epic plans for Billy. I won't say any more details just yet. I'll leave that to him, but I think we're going to see a lot more amazing things with Billy. And then Crypto Kel had a stunning illustration of Chaos Mage Bana with her cockatrice. It was so good that I retweeted it from my own personal Twitter. Ickleek had some amazing watercolors of all the familiars. That was a super popular piece. And then Tanya Del Rio had some amazing lore on Magus Chio. I read it. It's such a good story. It uses one of my personal favorite tropes of all time, which is the human baby raised by wild beast trope. You know, you see that trope in the story of Romulus and Remus, the story of Mowgli of the Jungle Book. But Tanya put this fantastic spin on it. And if when you read her story, you can tell it's like just the beginning of a larger story. Tanya is an amazing writer, very, very creative. And then finally, last but not least, this absolutely stunning illustration commissioned by a retired yield farmer, which basically looks like it belongs on the cover of a AAA video game. Just a stunning, beautiful, professional-looking piece. And, you know, all of that was just like the tip of the iceberg of the amazing things that we saw this week. So I just thought that deserved some acknowledgement.
I also have been loving the water bubble lore that's been coming out. It's been super inspiring. So, for example,
hey, Dotta, you're like very quiet.
Let's see.
Well, maybe I'll rejoin.
No.
Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, I think it's better now.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Um, so one of the things that I've really enjoyed is the like word bubble lore. So I just shared, one in the space, which was one with Sorcerer Ilias and Magus Wazir. And I like one of the things I'm finding as we're starting to get better as a community at like writing new lore is I find that I really want to see more of this like long form like narrative of Fujitsu, for example, wrote a screenplay, which was fantastic, and then but I think writing a screenplay is like hard for a lot of people, and so I want to be able to build tools into the book of lore that make these kinds of dialogues a little bit easier. So,
Yep.
it's a bit far out, but I would love to see more and more. Like, I think that's just how it starts, right? Like the derivative, like or like the augmenting works start with just pixel art and animating those, and then it's like interpretations that are just sketches, and then it's like really high end sketches and comics, and then narrative and stories all the way up to show and eventually film. So I just love seeing kind of the progressive evolution of these characters,
Yep.
and I want to
Yep.
build tools to make it easier.
For sure. Yep. That's what we're all about, is just keep building tools to make this stuff easier, more accessible. Um, yeah, I was talking with somebody the other night, and just, I asked one of my favorite questions, which is, what is it about this project that makes people want to create so much? What is it that makes, like, quote, non-creative people want to start creating? And yeah, it's just like we gave like these simple primitives. We gave like the character, you got the map, you got the book of lore. You foster a very creative community, and it's wonders. That stuff just goes so far.
For me, I think it's something around like being able to relive things that you cherished in your childhood, but then like being able to do it with the community. Like yeah, like for me, I spent so much time like playing, Magic the Gathering or Warcraft or Muds or like all the or like drawing pictures of like copying down, like I remember that I used to sit and draw like frames from The Lion King or something, and sort of
Sure.
I feel like, you kind of lose that as you get older, and so um, yeah, it gives you an opportunity to kind of like express yourself creatively within like a whole community of other people that are doing the same thing.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. There's a quote by Picasso. It's something like, "Every child is an artist. The problem is how to remain an artist once he grows up."
Mm.
Um, and I think that's very true. I think we see a lot of that in the community. Um, but yeah, okay. So switching topics, I want to put a spicy question out there, and nobody has to answer it yet. Maybe it's not even that spicy, but it's just something I've been thinking about. Because like internally we're thinking about the warrior drop, and the PR strategy around it, and just there's so many things that go into like how to do a drop. And we learned a lot with wizards, we learned a lot with souls, we learned a lot with ponies. So how are we going to strategize the warrior drop? And one of the components in these drops is like it's like doing the customs and getting influencers involved and making these unique wizards. And we're definitely going to do that again. Um, and so anyway, last night, I think it was last night, Paris Hilton was on the Jimmy Fallon show, and they talked about NFTs, and I think Paris Hilton gave Jimmy Fallon a Bored Ape or something like that. Which is awesome, because I want the NFTs, I want the NFT community and the whole movement to go more and more mainstream. But it made me wonder, what if, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, but what if we gave Paris Hilton a warrior NFT, and we even did like a custom Paris Hilton warrior? And I know that sounds ridiculous, but maybe that's a good thing. And so, but the question is, like, how would the community feel about that? Because there's pros and there's cons, and there's going to be a lot of hot takes, and I've got my own opinions. But I'm just curious how the community would react if we made like a custom Paris Hilton warrior.
So specifically Paris Hilton, not
Yeah,
just like
well, I mean, it leads to the broader question of like anyone else, but like, yeah, specifically Paris Hilton, because she's like not necessarily a match. Like when I think of warrior, I don't necessarily think of Paris Hilton, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't expect anyone to know the answer now. It's more of just a thought exercise, but if you want to chime in, go for it.
Yeah, I don't think it's that spicy. For me, the answer would be yes. Like, of course, right? Like, I think that like influencers are kind of part of Forgotten Runes. Like, it doesn't bother me to be able, especially to reach it to someone at that level of celebrity. And like, if they sort of like, if Paris Hilton were to join the cult, that's not bad. Like, I don't think of Paris Hilton even specifically as kind of like a negative person. She's like extremely brilliant and successful because she's able to kind of like play a character. And so to me, that's, I don't really feel that's controversial. If Paris Hilton like joined the cult, that seems like a good thing.
Other opinions?
I think it is such a good idea. I don't see any downside in this. Like I just think visibility. I mean, maybe she ignores you, but that's not that big of a deal. But I just think it's cool because the whole
Yeah.
premise is like wizards are for everybody. And there's, I mean, if you have
Right.
like 15 to 20,000 warriors, there's 10,000 wizards, whatever drops come afterwards. Like showing the diversity of the community, the different angles that things can go into. And there's so much substance within this project that other projects just don't have. And so bringing visibility that, hey, it's not just about like parties and clubs and like, and there's actual like content and the caliber of people and what's being brought out within this community. I think it's such a good idea.
All right. Oh, do you have a take?
My immediate reaction is resistance. But I do see that like getting within the awareness of as many people as possible is a good thing. My question to you would be, would you find or try and find some way of approaching Paris Hilton to get her to kind of have some input on how you customize that warrior? Because watching that, I saw the clip on Jimmy Fallon, and a part of that clip was both of them explaining why they picked those specific apes.
Right. Yeah. It's a good question, and I don't even know how we would go about doing that. But yeah, it's definitely a question. Slurp, what's up?
Reese Witherspoon could be your like follow up if you already like draw a blonde one. It wouldn't be that hard to change it from Paris to Reese, you know.
For sure. Yeah, and I think you mean her name is Eth Wizardspoon. Bam Bam, what's up?
I don't have a problem with Paris, but it's like kind of opportunity cost in my opinion. Like if we are to do something for Paris, like what other influencers could actually be even better for us that might actually be like a better fit, you know, like could it be somebody in games or movies or something, somebody who's really into building IP? Or I mean, fuck, if she's really into wizards, then of course, great. But I think it's so much better to have somebody who would be like super into this, you know?
For sure.
For the record, though, you're totally right. We're spending, when we think about like influencers and like who is really like endemic to our audience. I think we spend most of our time doing that, but then we get to these sort of fringe names, and we do ask ourselves this question, and it is interesting. I'm not sure where I fall on it actually.
The thing about Paris specifically, though, I think she did the first concert in Decentraland. Like, Paris is not totally arbitrary. I think she's been the most high profile celebrity that was an early entrant in the space. So,
Right.
I mean, she gets kind of knocked on for being dumb, but I don't think she's dumb at all. I think she's strategic. She comes from a real estate family and background. So, and I also don't think that it needs to be an either or. Like, I mean, of course, you don't want to flood and give every celebrity something, but I wouldn't like try to bring somebody in that has shown absolutely no interest in the space, but I also wouldn't try to, again, give it to everybody. But Paris has shown an early adoption, a visibility, and an alignment and a willingness to promote.
Right. She has her own. She actually launched her own metaverse. I saw.
What do you think the downsides of giving out the customized wizards were from your perspective? Like, what would you want to avoid in terms of like the kind of person who receives a custom warrior?
I'm leaning towards like if the agreement happened, then I'm leaning towards like, yeah, let's give her one. The only downside to me, and maybe it's not even that bad of a downside, is like she gets it and then she either dumps it immediately or she never participates. Like I would love if she got it and then actually wrote some lore. That would be huge. Um, I guess another downside is just it looks like we're what's the word? Star fucking, but there's a better word than that. Like just chasing fame. I don't know. Like I don't want us to like look like that. um, but yeah, I don't know. And well, and yeah, and she, you don't normally associate Paris Hilton with like the fantasy genre. It's not necessarily a fit. But then again, maybe the non sequitur nature of it makes it interesting. So I don't know. I'm glad I asked this though, because you guys all have some really interesting takes.
Yeah,
I have one. Oh,
go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say on my stance, and I think some of the community would echo my viewpoint, and from talks about the previous influencer ones. And I don't think it's bad that they get one, but I wouldn't reshape the traits around them, if that makes sense. I would build them into the collection and just give them a piece of the collection versus give outwardly traits that like specifically call upon that influencer.
Right, that are named after them. That's like so specific to them. Yeah, like that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Warriors, which is like, I think that we should do warrior honoraries for people that like. Well, we should do warrior honoraries. Like the criteria we can talk about as a community, but I agree. Like I think there were maybe some choices we made that are like way too specific early on that I would want to like make sure that it fits into the lore of the world. And I think we did that too. Like even early on, we made sure that we're like, okay, like are there sort of, Joey Ramone as a wizard? Like are there like jean jackets and like, leather jackets and jean pants in this world? And we were like, yes, there are. So this is fine for us. But I still think that, yeah, like naming kind of the traits after the influencers maybe not a good idea.
Warder, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I guess my question would be like, or I have two questions. Why did we create why did you create the one of ones for the wizards? And does that logic still apply for wizards or for warriors? And if not, then why warriors?
Sure, I can take this. I mean, I'll pipe in, but I think like, okay, at the time that like wizards, dropped, no one really knew who we were. Like whatever, maybe we had done some NFTs or had followers, but like we didn't really have a lot of sort of attention within the NFT collection community. And so it really was these honoraries that put us on the map. I would say if I had to say one person that like kind of gave us that we had a meaningful boost right after, it would be specifically D's. Though I think like Claire Silver also gave us a lot of like warmth in the beginning.
Fiscantes too.
Others. Yeah, Fiscantes for sure. That's a good one. And I would say that like a massive amount of kind of awareness of wizards came when those people sort of pointed to us, and that really made like a meaningful difference to the momentum of the project. And so I think it was a good strategy. It was someone recommended it to me. I had seen other projects do this, and some other projects they'll put the honoraries kind of in like a side collection, or like it's not part of kind of, they'll have like, you could imagine we could have done Forgotten Runes honoraries. It's a separate contract or something, but we made them part of the kind of the original collection. And
to me, I'm really glad we did it because it really brought this new component to the lore that I don't think we otherwise would have had. I mean, first of all, this is the collaborative legendarium, so I'm glad that like notable NFT people contributed to the lore of the project. We got some really good stuff out of it. Like Gremplin created the fur gnome, and Scramps is like a super popular familiar, and I love Marlowe's alien. Like some really good stuff came out of it, and that's just sort of the spirit of what this is. It's a collaboration. So I'm really glad that we did it. Uji, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I was just gonna say what Dota brought up, that honorary should be in another collection, but that's already been covered.
Yeah, so I think the question is like, does it still apply in the future? And the answer would be like, yes, but like at what level are we talking about, right? Like, for example, if you've had, I don't know, a Mike Tyson warrior, that's like a whole other layer, even above sort of like your regular crypto influencer. That's like a globally known personality. So I think that if there are opportunities to have kind of this like a real participation that kind of gets that awareness, right? Like it's good for Bored Apes to be on Jimmy Fallon. So like, can we get there? If yes, like it seems like, oh, why not? Hi, TV. Yeah, TV, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, I was gonna say on the honorary, I think Paris Hilton is cool, and that would be a good choice. My only hesitation is sort of similar to what Elf said, that if she just got it and then like never did anything with it, never interacted with the community, then maybe the boost that it gives is like a very kind of superficial one time kind of like, people see that she gets one and then FOMO in after her type of thing. And maybe that's, that could be a good thing to bring in new people, that some people will stick
Right.
around and want to be involved. But then it also brings in a lot of people who are just kind of in and out for, looking to flip or something. So
it's super important, right? That like one, the influencer will kind of like come in and like sell their honorary the first week. We had that happen with the original Wizards. And then I think the other part is just like, what are we designing the drop of warriors to be? Do we want to get kind of like people see it on TV and now they fill up the Discord with like, a lot of hype and then people just leave and move on to the next project, right? Like you see this with a lot of NFT projects, this idea of like, I say like the like locusts, which is not like trying to call any person a locust, but that's what it feels like. You sort of have this massive surge kind of go from Discord to Discord and kind of eat all of the greens and then like leave desolation in its wake. And that's something that we've like, I've never wanted to like craft this like massive hype where then, destruction is the only thing left over. And I think really what we're trying to design the Warriors drop for is the same thing we've designed Wizards for, which is around like storytelling, like that, like we want to bring in creatives and people who like understand the vision of creating creating stories where we each own the characters. And I actually have a lot of thoughts on that on the Warriors drop. There's a couple of people raising their hand because I'm about to take it into the left field. Maybe we can talk more about these honoraries before I talk about Warriors drop in general.
Chick, what's up?
Chick, you have your hand up.
I was going to talk about. Well, I was just going to talk about Warriors, so I don't want to segue away. But the reason is because I appreciate everything that you're saying, Dota. And as a new entrant in this space, I've spent time in other Discords and completely see dilution and just the garbage in some of them. The problem, though, is Wizards, like, I don't know, you guys debuted them at 0.07 ETH, and now they're at like 3, 4, 5, 6 ETH with, I don't know, like 6 ETH in airdrops in like 3 months. So when Warriors drop, I imagine the mint price is going to be a entry level that is attractive to people. You're going to have a lot of hype and a lot of publicity and a lot of people that are there to kind of make money, not just the organic, solid community that you have here of people that are looking to create. So I think regardless, like to me, that shouldn't be a factor of whether or not you put a specific influencer in, because I think that that's something that is just going to have to whittle itself out. I think there probably will have to be a holders chat and a not holders chat, because you guys have already kind of made it. There's already hype around the project, and there are people that are just kind of looking to make a quick flip.
Right. Sorry, just real quick. If you do not want to speak, leave the stage, because I got a lot of requests and I can't bring up. We've reached a critical mass, so just wanted to put that out there. I think. Oh, you were getting ready to say something.
I think, yes, Slick Cheeks definitely bring up something that is true for a lot of Discords and a lot of drops. I think you could make the Warriors drop something that kind of tries to get people who are more likely to write lore into the project. I know that there's some project recently that vetted their mint list quite heavily somehow or another. I think there are ways of doing that, and maybe you can speak to the teams about how they've been doing it. But yeah, and also just to echo the other point on the celebrities, ideally, you'd want a celebrity who's going to write lore.
Yep, for sure. Blockchain Blick, I think you had your hand up.
Hello? Yep, yeah, thanks. So if we give one to Paris Hilton, my only request is that we also give one to Henry Cavill.
Okay, now that's a warrior. Yeah, for sure. Gibbs, what's up?
Hey, quick question. You know, we're talking about different folks that make sense to receive an honorary. Is there a way that we would be able to get interactive with it and allow the community to maybe like nominate some and then vote on them as well?
I love that idea.
Of course, yeah.
For sure. Yep.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool because then it could also
like
create some buzz around it.
It would be good. Yeah, and if you have connections to people that you think are good, like you can reach out, right? Like all of us have more connections than any one of us.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Juan Snow, you've been up here.
Yeah, just had a quick question, or not a question, but I wanted to make a comment regarding the Paris Hilton honorary warrior.
Yeah.
Because a lot of celebrities or famous people get a lot of spam in their wallet. What would make us any different than us just sending her an NFT? Like she probably just gonna assume it's just another random one. What's gonna make ours stand out or get noticed?
Yeah, I think what we would do is we would make we would have contact with her before we ever even went forward on a honorary.
We would never spam
Is this
somebody.
And this conversation isn't even really about Paris Hilton herself, right? Like, I don't want to even double down so much.
Yeah.
It's not
For
just
Elf,
Paris
it is.
Hilton, right? It's like, is it?
That's pretty, all right.
Not necessarily, but it did spark an interesting conversation. Warder, what's up?
So one thing that has been super fun is seeing the souls be like the one of ones being minted. And the wizards don't, I mean, there's the one of ones, you know, the Wizard of Oz and things like that. But like, I think that like putting these like putting iconic warriors in, I guess I just don't understand, like, what do we need the boost for? I think Slick Chick brings up like a good point. Like, what are we actually seeking with these honoraries? Like, we have like a lot of traction. Like there's a lot of people in the like writing and creating. So like, are we just like giving an influencer 50 ETH for free? Like, what are we doing?
It's a great question.
Yeah, I mean, I have a response. I think for the group, for the team, it's about bridging the gap for the idea that wizards are for everyone. And I think wizards can only be for everyone if everyone knows who we are. And I think it's about breaking into pop culture. I think we've talked about a lot, like, what does it mean? I think last week we talked about what does it mean to be a top franchise, and we can debate like what you want to call them, but a brand like Hello Kitty or Pokemon. And I think, you know, one of our goals is to sort of be one of those top global brands. And I think tapping into the heartbeat of pop culture through people that represent pop culture is a big part of that.
Sure. I guess like, though, I mean, ideally we want them to come to us, like, because I mean, it's always, if it's a partnership, yes, certainly like it can bring more attention, but you know, Pokemon and Hello Kitty aren't the biggest brands because, you know, they brought in an influencer. Certainly they worked with people that were big and certainly they had that attention, but like, I do feel that it's like chasing clout, you know, like, because I totally respect and understand the reason for wanting to bring in influencers for wizards. Like, you know, there were crypto or NFT projects were all over the place. So how do you stand out? But now we've stood the test of time, right? So like,
yeah, I totally see what you're saying, Warder. There's pros and cons. I agree. It is apparently a pretty spicy topic. I didn't expect it to go on this long, and I see both sides of it. I really do.
Yeah.
Zela Sol, what's up, man?
I was thinking that if we did happen to do that, I mean, a really strategic move would be have some like really good content released at the time we did send it over. So by the time they checked our Twitter page, we have like maybe the trailer pinned up to the page and some other like really good content going. Like, not that there isn't already, but just, if it's TLDR.
Right. Yep. Uji and then Slip Chicken, and then we'll move on from this topic.
So to piggyback off of Order and having people come to us, doesn't having a separate collection of honoraries give you the flexibility to create new ones as people come to us over time?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, but I think that for
it's
me, like even when we did the honoraries on Wizards, one of the things that we were like really key on, which is like this honorary has to fit into our world. Like we did, let's see, we did two punks. We did at least, maybe we did a couple more. But after kind of like the second one, we started thinking like, wait, like we're not trying to re-implement punks in Wizards. Like we don't want this to be like a punks honorary collection. And so I think that like I would, even if we had a separate collection, we wouldn't want to create honoraries that are not part of the Runiverse lore.
right. No, I hear you, Doda. I do like having them all in one. I see the pros and cons of each side. Slick Chick.
Hi, sorry, I'm talking a lot, but I love this subject. So
No,
I look
you're
at
great,
like you have Gaiosari, Gaiosari with Bored Apes. That's really kind of transformed Bored Apes, and then MoonPay that's buying celebrities every expensive NFT out there. And I feel by you going direct to Paris Hilton, you're taking the control. And I think that is really cool from this is what we're trying to build. This is our decentralized world building. And we have the content creators and we don't need Gaiosari and we don't want MoonPay because we can do it ourselves. And I think I think that you owning the power by doing that gives you a lot more leeway in the way that you manage it.
Yep. Yeah. This has been a super interesting topic. Go ahead, Doda.
No, yeah, like for me, I think. Well, maybe change tracks again, though, but not really. Like the continuation of this idea, which is like, what is the point of warriors in the first place, and how do we think about the drop? I actually have like I thought a lot about this. I don't know if we have something else we want to talk about, but I can talk about this some. I think like one of the reasons that we want to do warriors is because like this, what I'm calling like, I don't know, the Forgotten Ruins paradox, which is this idea that as it becomes more obvious what wizards are going to be, creative people get priced out of like the wizard NFTs, right? As people start to see the comic and the show and the game, like then what's going to happen is wizards are more of a speculative tool than, well, they could become this, and be too expensive. It kills me to think of like, what if like the One Who Rings sort of discovered wizards next year and it was priced too much, and instead of like sort of being part of our community, they just sort of move on because they're like, wizards are too expensive, so I can't contribute here. And I think one of our goals is to have like every creative person contribute their talents to wizards and get compensated for it, right? Like the reason that like NFTs are a good medium for this is because it's viable for every creative person to contribute, right? We've talked about this. It's like the greatest group of stories enjoyed by the most amount of people ever. And Warriors is a good chance to incorporate more people into the cult, and specifically like people who like will help create. So I think that like Go ahead.
Well, I want to make. We only have 10 minutes left, and there's one other important thing I want to hit on. But I guess I would just finish this with a very important component of this project is the intersection between pop culture and mythology. And there's a lot of pop culture already in the collection. There's a lot of pop culture in the lore. Today's pop culture is tomorrow's mythology. So whether that culture comes in the form of a celebrity or a meme or anything else, I don't think we ought to be closed off to it. But I hear everybody in here. I also think we need to do it smartly, with class and tact and just creative integrity. So this is actually a really interesting segue, though, into this final piece I wanted to touch on. And Enchanter Orbis / Shark Child is part of this little anecdote. So I'm glad he's up here. So it has to do with just like the trailer update. And there's a little bit of pop culture in this as well. So we had this really fun thing happen in production recently. There is this scene in the trailer that, as I see the animatic getting developed, this particular scene is just starting to feel very iconic. It's starting to feel like a sort of He-Man or Thundercats moment. It's starting to feel like when He-Man says, "I have the power," or Lion-O says, "Thundercats ho!" And so it's great because, like, you know, I wrote the script, and then but then the storyboarder, he boarded out this amazing sequence, and then the animator animated it, and it's just feeling epic. And so I was like, just yesterday I was like, this scene needs a line, an epic, memorable line. And so what was fun is in our company Discord, I was like, guys, let's brainstorm. Let's figure out a line for this scene. And everybody at the company like helped come up with this line. And I'm not going to say what the line is, but we came up with it. And then we even furthered the whole community engagement. And I reached out to Shark Child. I was like, dude, your voice is awesome. You're going to read this line. And so last night, Titmouse and Shark Child and I, we had a recording session, and Shark Child, you recorded this line. So if you want to say anything about that process, go for it.
I was just gonna say, people are gonna love it when they hear it, and also I mean, I haven't seen the animation by any means. I've just seen this one segment that I participated in lending my voice to, and it's just awesome. Everyone's gonna be blown away. But yeah, when you see this scene, you'll know exactly what Elf is talking about when he references He-Man. And we have our own special sauce now to put with him. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. And I mean, I'll probably got a kick because my desk setup is in my closet, so I warned him. I'm like, so you're gonna see all my clothes and stuff because I'm just tucked away in the closet with my mic. But that's how I roll, and it was so much fun.
Yeah. So when you see this epic scene, I hope you don't think, instead of like seeing a wizard do this awesome thing, I hope you don't think of a man yelling in his closet. That's all I have to say.
All right, maybe I shouldn't have given that because now everyone will know.
Yeah. So yeah, go.
No, I was just gonna say, I think it'll be fun for people to speculate on. I mean, what wizard? I think this is a good, put it out there to the community. What wizard could possibly fulfill this role? For people to speculate on that will be fun.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Yeah. So that was just a really fun piece, and I just love that we were able to bring in someone from the community to do a voice. And I want to do a lot more of that, just wherever we can. Voices, contributing lore, contributing arts, whatever we can do. That's what this project is about.
We have like 5 questions and 5 minutes. I don't know.
Yeah, let's hit them.
Do you have anything else you want to cover? Okay.
Yeah, let's hit these questions.
Let's see. Okay, from the top. Doda, I'm still learning about how land would work. I would love insight on best practices, aspirations for what a great outcome would be for the land, like a long-term view of what this could be. Maybe that's for another time. That's a big one. Oh, that is a big one. Okay, I have a whole big thing that I think about with regards to like land. There's a lot of people that are like, oh, virtual land should be unlimited because we're not limited by bits. So why do we recreate real estate in the virtual world? And I think that's really misguided for a lot of cases because I think that the reason is because like scarcity is a coordinating force, right? Like scarcity works because you can store up value for the future. And so I think that like I think that in the same way that you don't release your like 10K PFP project as like an asset pack, you don't like just give everyone land for free, because when you kind of have this scarcity, it acts as a coordination mechanism that helps actually make the game better because more people are like participating and contributing, right? I think you kind of people kind of know this, right? Which is like why like business stuff tends to be better than volunteer stuff, because like when you volunteer to do something, that's like really only like one or two nodes in the graph of like productivity can like have the luxury of volunteering, whereas like capitalism sort of like has survival self-interest, which motivates every node in the graph. And so I don't know, that's a little abstract, but basically the land, I have a lot of thoughts there. We only have a few minutes, but that's more about like the scarcity infinite land issue and less about the game mechanics, which I can talk about next week. Someone also asked about like Pony's cutoff date. There's no cutoff date yet, but eventually. The vision for the Book of Lore long term is really just around like building more tools for storytellers, right? Like I'd actually like to try to do some sort of like screenplay mechanism. Oh, you might notice actually that we updated the UI for the Book of Lore. It's maybe a bit more like technical. It's markdown right now, so rather than like what you see is what you get, right? So it's a little bit. It might be a bit of a learning curve for some people, but the formatting should at least be more consistent. We're going to be working on that quite a lot over the next year. And making it better. But yeah, the Book of Lore is just like constantly making it better. Which the next person asked,
I would just add that they're asking what are the long-term plans for it. Basically, I want the Book of Lore to be as easy to use as like Google Docs or like a blogging website. Yeah, right now it's a little complicated for me. I don't know. I don't know. But it's going to get better. We're constantly working on it, constantly updating. So you know, it's a developing project.
Yeah, and the next question from Jail Warden was, I'd love to hear more about quality of life things for the Book of Lore, like search. Yes, we are adding it. Niski and I met about that this morning, as well as like being able to filter for properties. So yeah, you'll be able to say like, show me all the Kobold lore, show me all the lore that has images. Oh, we do support like video embeds. If you look at the new editor, you can embed videos now. I know Dr. Slurp's been asking for that for like months. But you'll be able to say, show me, you know, lore with videos or recent lore, things like that. So that's there. Pony lore, we're like almost ready to ship it. Yeah, so those would be the questions.
Oh, there's one more. It looks like Zayla Soul is asking, have you considered an uncapped mint for World Wide Web 3, a character that can be built from the ground up? Yes, this is super interesting. Well, I was going to say, maybe not.
The game will be free to play.
Hold on. Zayla Soul was asking about World Wide Web 3, and we probably won't do it for Web 3, but for the Runiverse game, yes, we are definitely going to do that. Right?
Yeah, hello? I don't know that I'd call it like an uncapped mint insofar as like, you know, it's not that there's like an infinite number of NFTs that are being created, but like the game will be free to play insofar as like anyone can join, and then you can like build your character and collect your own inventory and like build on top of that. But it's not like every character is like minting a new wizard NFT, for example. And the land supply will be capped.
Yeah, no, and maybe this is getting too in the weeds, but isn't there going to be like a generic character that anybody can get that's uncapped? It's going to be like just like a naked character or whatever. I don't know if they'll be naked, but then you can build on top of that with capped NFTs.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yes.
I hope that made sense to everybody else. There's 1 minute left. Yeah. Sorry, the Paris Hilton question dominated the Wizard Wednesday, but it actually was a very interesting to hear all of your takes. And again, I totally hear everybody. That's why I thought it would be spicy. There's pros and cons to it. And I assure you that whatever we do in this regard, we will do it with purpose and with the best intention of growing the project and not hurting the project in any way. I know maybe that sounds like obvious, but you know, I don't know. I think we're pretty smart, and I think we'll handle it in the right way. Right, Dotta? Right, Bear?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I have faith. I have faith.
Okay, awesome. Well, it is that's the end of Wizard Wednesday. This has been Elf.
And
I think we lost
Dotta.
Dotta. Oh, there he is. Okay. And Dotta and Bear Snake. Oh, Enchanter, Orbis, Uji, Blockchain, Blick, Tanya Del Rio, everybody who contributed to the Paris Hilton discussion, and maybe Paris Hilton herself was here. I don't know. Channeling out from the Quantum Downs. Good night, everybody.